Hey, all y'all. I think we've done enough intro. Let's go ahead and get into a substantive thing, um, which I've decided to start with something I know very little about, which is guns. And the reason I've decided to start with guns is because the discourse on this between the right and the left has gotten so awful. The left thinks the right are a bunch of bloodthirsty hicks who don't care about dead children. The right thinks the left are a bunch of full of themselves urbanites who just look down on them and want to destroy everything about their way of life. We hate each other on this issue, but it's so important, right? That we can't just give up. We can't just keep hating each other. We have to get the work done. So, what the left needs to understand, first of all, is the cultural and familial importance of guns. Um, just because you're not from a hunting family doesn't mean that hunting families aren't a thing and that they're legit. They have a long history, and it can be, a family event that people are very attached to, traditionally. There are a lot of places where guns are still necessary because of wild animals and protecting your livestock and whatever else might be. And even where they're not necessary, where they became traditional over the years and they're a big, important family thing. Even if you don't understand that, even if you can't make yourself respect it, you have to accept it. That is how it is. And we're not going to be able to just take everybody's guns away. Which, by the way, the right, most of us don't want to do that. We have no interest in taking everybody's guns away. But there are some people on the left, I'm sure, who do. And that's just not going to happen. We have to have respect for people who have this cultural and familial attachment to guns. What the right needs to understand is why we're so hysterical on the left. Because people are walking into elementary schools and murdering dozens of children. I can't accept that anybody doesn't care about that, even though there are people out there who act like they don't care about that. We all have to care about that. It's horrifying. It's the worst thing you can imagine. And most mass shootings are like that. So how we're feeling here on the left is this happens, and then we feel helpless. There's nothing we can do. You guys won't let us do anything. So, and next time it's going to be our children. That's how we feel about that. So, what the left needs to drop. I mentioned the getting rid of all guns. We just need to drop that. That's not going to happen. Non-starter. And what we have to do is we have to drop the scorn for people who like guns, and we have to treat responsible gun owners as the allies that they can be on this issue. And tell them that not only do we respect, what they do and what they teach others to do, but that we need their help. Because the right is right that most of the left does not understand guns in the same way you do. People are always saying to me, there is no such thing as an assault rifle. Assault rifle bans make no sense. Okay, fine, but then teach us. Tell me, if I'm saying what kind of a gun gets off 1,000,000 bullets very quickly, that seems to be something that you want to keep out of as many hands as possible. Oh, that is this kind of gun. This is how we would talk about that. It doesn't, what the right needs to drop, sorry, I did what the left needs to drop. What the right needs to drop is the defensiveness. Guns do not have to represent your entire way of life. There are a lot of wonderful things about the way all families and cultures live in this country. And guns are just one thing. And not only are they one thing, but they're incredibly dangerous. And you have to be willing to admit that. And that's why we want to put all these regulations in place. We have all these regulations in place for cars. We have car insurance. We have, the safety classes, the licensing, the whole thing. And we can still have fun with cars, but we respect the potential danger that they bring. Guns are even worse, really, honestly. So you need to drop the defensiveness that we're coming for your guns, that we're coming for your whole way of life. I've told the left to drop even thinking about trying to do that. And we have to drop sort of this, I don't know, this sort of faking that they're not as bad as they are. they're dangerous. That doesn't mean they're terrible, horrible things that shouldn't exist, but they're dangerous. So people need to respect the power that they hold and what they can do to people. So we need to all start from the assumption that we all can't stand mass shootings. We have to. Even if people on the other side seem like they don't care, it has to be just that something else that's really important to them is bothering them. It can't be that they don't care. We have to start from the assumption that we all care and that we would like to prevent these things. The left also has to admit that there's no easy answers, because when you have something legal like guns, keeping it out of the wrong hands is a hard thing to do. But the right needs to remember that that doesn't mean we can do nothing. We're not the only country in the world. Lots of things have been tried all over the place. We need to try stuff. The government hasn't been allowed to study this issue to see what we can try. We need to open that up because there are solutions somewhere in the middle that can work for all of us. And if we're going to assume that we all care about preventing mass shootings and keeping guns out of hands that they should not be in, and we're going to talk about toxic masculinity and violence in future episodes. And if we can all accept that some people have legitimate, traditional, cultural, familial reasons to have guns, then we can meet somewhere in the middle and find something, work together with our passion on this issue, our not being able to stand this issue, and your knowledge of this issue, and sit down and be creative and figure this out. But you need to drop the defensiveness. We are not trying to destroy everything you hold dear. I will make sure that we're not trying to destroy everything that you hold dear. And you need to understand why we're so hysterical. And we need to not look down at you. Just because somebody is different and is, rural and has whatever. I'm not saying that all lefties are like this. All righties are, all nothing is anything. But if we can drop the scorn, drop the defensiveness, drop a little of the hysteria, only long enough to talk to each other, remember that we all care, and remember that we're all smart and can find things to try. There's stuff out there that will help. Any lives saved are lives saved. So this is where I am on this issue. And I hope you all will join me in this place.